One method for defining finishes as items across the design phase starts with a room template that has been defined with generic items. Using a parent generic item with a child specific item allows a designer to build a list of finish choices to later swap out on a room by room basis. In this example, the parent generic paint has 3 child specific colors. The colors were defined using a drop-down menu in the item data choices using a major paint supplier as a basis of design. The supplier's website URL was then used as a DeRoufus-defined composite text field so that when the color was defined by the item data choices, the URL could then be used later to pick the product-specific color. When the time came to define the child-specific paint at the room level, the designer simply needed to find the rooms that were using the generic items as room templates and change the finish list status of the room from templated to derived. Now that it's derived, the designer simply needs to swap the parent for the child. From the Items module, the designer selected the parent generic paint item occurrences and swapped them for the child-specific paint item. And finally, those occurrences can then be defined with a specific product. By setting the default product after occurrences have been applied at the item level, the product is then associated to all of those individual occurrences. So the room at once started with a generic finish requirement using a template, was set to derived so that the parent item could be swapped out for the child item. Later, the child item was then defined with a specific product. So the room went from a generic requirement to a generic item requirement using a template to then a item specific using a derived status using a parent-child swap, and then the child had a product associated to it so that they would have a specific product defined per finish.